see some men saying that single mothers should suffer the consequences of their mistakes. And I want to be clear that children are not a mistake at all. I believe that the person that you may have had children with is a mistake, or maybe when you had children could be a mistake, but children are never a mistake. I think the thing that women should be concerned about is the concept that men feel like women should suffer in general. And they don't think that single fathers should suffer from anything. Just single moms. Not a single father. Not a deadbeat dad who's abandoning his child should suffer. But a single mother should suffer for her poor choices. Only in black culture. Only in black culture. Because I'm telling you, other races of people, and I'm around so many different races of people in Northern California. It is hella multicultural. And the black community, they'll abandon some children and blame the woman all day. But in other cultures, these men will attack other men who abandon their children. That's not flying in other cultures. Try to abandon the child if you want to in these other cultures. You got their whole family coming after you after that. You got men wanting to beat your ass. You got her brother, father, uncles, cousins, all coming after you if you abandon a child. Like, it is not a game. If families marry other families, they don't just marry an individual. Like, it doesn't suddenly become your business what you do with your wife and your child. Like, it's the whole family's business. We all out here making mistakes all day, every day. Imagine if we suffered dire consequences every time we made a mistake. Oh my God. All of us would be out here struggling. Some of us would not be alive. Shouts out to the men who have enough sense to not make a fatherless household. Ooh, some of these men are so lost that they are hurting the women that God sent to heal them. I used to pray over the men that I dated so much. I used to, ask God to give them the life that they wanted and give me a life with them. And for years I did that. And then one day I just was like, I'm never praying for men again. I stopped asking God to send me a man. I stopped asking God to send me the man that I wanted. I stopped asking God to send me the man that he wanted for me, because it never came. I prayed for God to make me be right. So when I do meet the right guy, my life would be great. I stopped praying for that. I didn't stop believing in a higher power simply because it seemed like my prayers were unanswered. And at some point I had to just accept that the answer was no. I just started asking for stuff like the greatest good, or I just flowed with the way things flowed. I had to accept the fact that that's just not what's going to happen for me. At some point I had to just let it go. Now, it doesn't mean that it's not going to come, but honestly, my intuition is telling me that it isn't. When me and my son's father broke up in 2017, I knew it was it. Like, my intuition was like, this is your last relationship right here. God knows how I love to take care of people. And so God was like, okay, you want a man to take care of? Here, have a son. So it's a wrap, God got jokes. God got jokes. Like, I'm my son's first love, so I have to teach my son how to treat women and how to be kind and how to find the right woman to marry and how to have a decent character. But I honestly feel like I've always felt comfortable not being in a relationship, because anytime I would get in a relationship, I would be under so much stress. I was just like, you know what? This might be a good thing for me. So my suggestion to ladies is pray for the greatest good and pray for you to be able to handle whatever the universe has for you. That way you won't be miserable when you don't get the things that you pray for sometimes. The material things, the relationships, the money, the success, the career, whatever it is that you're praying to God for, don't pray for that. I personally think people can manifest anything. But if your manifestation doesn't come fast enough, or when you thought you could have it, don't be disappointed. Understand that the universe knows something. And it's trying to give you something better that's suitable for you. And sometimes you thinking you want something and then you get it and you get buyer's remorse. So the universe just knows something you don't know. Pray that the universe tells you what you don't know. Like, if you really are like, why I'm not getting this thing, ask the universe to tell you why. And then you'll be like, oh. The grind never sleeps. Even though you want an easy, soft, fragile life, filled with relaxation. It's contrast that creates desires. It's the catalyst for perfect manifestations. You won't be able to experience anything or bring anything into your life without some kind of friction. It has to be there. It's a trampoline. That's how life works. It's never going to be anything else, no matter how much you wish upon a star. It is. The longer that you live, the better your response becomes to the stuff that you are experiencing that may make you feel negatively. And when you respond in a more positive manner, that's when your life starts getting smooth. But the contrast never stops. The negativity never stops. Neither does the positivity. You just have to choose which road to take. Your life is never going to be just this straight path. It's zigzag all day. Don't stick around longer than you have to thinking your love is going to change someone. This person wakes up every morning and irks your damn soul, and you want to love them until they change. You cut off the possibility of you being loved by somebody who actually deserves you. Someone who is going to appreciate you, be supportive, loving, and caring. Like, for serious, it can't be that hard to be selective about who you have a baby by. Like, I feel like men are more comfortable with smashing and impregnating than they are marrying a chick. I always tell women, be selective about who you have a baby by, because it can change your future. Like, these men feel very comfortable with leaving a piece of themselves with you. I mean, a walking, breathing piece of themselves with you, but they don't want to stick to you and marry you. They feel more comfortable with having sex with you, impregnating you, and abandoning you with a child than they do marrying you. It's easier to them to be able to walk away from you with a child than it is to walk away from a marriage, which is weird to me because it's like backwards. And I think the reason why it's backwards is because society doesn't hold men accountable for abandoning children.
To my mothers, if you got daughters and you got sons and they up in age and they making money, help pay a bill or something. And all I'm asking you to do is help me. Mothers, when your children get up in age, let them pay a bill. Because when they get older and they out on their own, these bills come first.
This is the secret of the black mother. She ends up being old, overweight, and lonely. So many black women are running around teaching women how to be independent, boss women, and all this stuff. None of them talk about family. None of them talk about marriage. Why? Because they need somewhere to stay.
It's funny that he said that because that's not what I teach my daughter at all, and she's 21. She's had the same boyfriend since middle school. Her father and I have been encouraging her to marry him, as well as his mother has been encouraging him to marry her. We have been preparing them to be husband and wife, and none of us have been married. I teach my daughter how to cook, clean, invest her money, keep a stable job. I'm just teaching her how to be a well-rounded person all across the board. And it makes sense because if you over 30, staying with your parents, you need to be helping with some of them bills or go out there and get your own place to live. This is some typical low energy, Mr. Let Go type shit, because he'll use any clip he can find to attack a single mother, and it'll be a whole stretch, and he'll try to use it anyway because he wants to get the popularity that men get when they drag a single mother. I had to break a generational curse myself with this hand-me-down that the women in my family taught me, that said that it would be my responsibility to take care of my parents because that's what I was supposed to do. That's what I was born for, to take care of my parents. But I didn't teach my daughter that. I taught my daughter that it is not her responsibility to take care of me. I would love that if she did that, if I was too old to take care of myself. But I work hard right now so that when I do retire, I have enough money to not be her burden. I teach her about life insurance and cryptocurrency, investing into stocks and NFTs and all types of things that will make sure that her income is secured once she gets to a certain age to where she can't work. I did not teach her when your children get older, your children are supposed to take care of you. That's not the type of thing that's going to build generational wealth in a family. I'm teaching her how to build generational wealth so that she can teach her children what I'm teaching her. That way everybody will always have money in our family and not have to rely on anyone for money. Everybody just as an individual will have their own sources of income. So don't believe that all single mothers think this way, or all single mothers are teaching their children that when they get older they got to take care of their parents. I teach my daughter, listen, if you want to provide for me, you can. But the reason why I work as hard as I do right now is so that you won't have to when you get older and I'm too old to take care of myself. Marriage is not going to save you, ladies. You got to make sure your finances are in order. You can't just rely on your husband's income. Something can happen to your husband. Your husband can pass away. And a lot of times when these fathers or husbands pass away, you inherit poverty. So you got to make sure that you got your own finances in order. Yes, it's okay for you to make your own money and have your own career. It doesn't mean that you won't get married or a man won't respect you. There is nothing wrong with a 2-income household. But don't rely on marriage, because sometimes these men file for divorce and they abandon you with children, and they don't see their children again once they find another woman to be in a relationship with or marry. So make sure your finances are in order and you don't have to rely on a man for that. A lot of black men hate to hear this, but in order for you to date a single mother, you have to be an alpha. You have to be exceptional. And when I say alpha and exceptional, I mean that you have to be real kind-hearted. You have to have a shit ton of resources. You have to have a lot of leadership skills. You have to know how to lead a community or build one. You have to know how to build a kingdom or rebuild a damaged one. And that takes a lot. An average man cannot handle that. And the average single mother walking around here shouldn't be expecting the average man to be able to handle that. An average single mother should not be out here looking for an average man. She needs to be looking for an alpha or an exceptional man. Lately, I've seen black men's definition of alpha only hold a bit of toxic masculinity. It proves to me that a lot of black men don't want to be mentors or role models to young children, whether they belong to them or not. The reason why a lot of black men can't stand the fact that I say in order for you to date a single mother, you have to be exceptional is because it requires them to have to self-reflect. It requires them to have to measure and take inventory of who they are themselves. It makes them have to raise the bar. So they make fun of men who date single mothers to try to make them look lower. These dusties do this because in order for them to feel good about themselves, they have to make it seem like a man who dates a single mother is stupid. You know, you have to be just a decent person to be able to handle it, because no average man with just an average character is going to adopt any child. You really have to have a decent character to be able to do something like that. They don't want to admit the fact that a man who does date a single mother is a better man than them. And in order for you to have a decent character like that, you got to put forth some type of effort into being a good person. And the average black man, the average dusty, doesn't want to put in that effort to be with a woman. I'm not saying that it makes a man a bad man if he chooses to not date single mothers. That's a preference. You're supposed to have that standard for yourself if that's for you. But at the same time, you cannot sit here and drag a man who has a better character than you, that is going out here doing something exceptional in the world, like taking care of a child that doesn't belong to him. It is something that deserves to be rewarded, because it takes so much to be able to do something like that. Some men love how you love, especially when you love unconditionally. Excuse me. Always tell people, don't love unconditionally. Let that be something God do. You're not God. You might be made in God's image. You might be an extension of God. But girl, don't try to love like him. Some of y'all stuck to the worst kind of man, and he not gonna let you go unless his ex, who loved him despite his toxicity, decides to come back. Or he finds a new desperate basica that doesn't have any boundaries and feels like she can't do better than him. These men out here who make your life miserable every day are not some prize that you need to try to keep up with. He's not the man of your dreams. You don't love him so much. You love the idea of who he could possibly be one day, and you might not even experience that one day kind of man. When I'm going to stop seeing this racially ambiguous dusty in my timeline?
Listen, men have sex with a lot of women. Y'all call us hoes and whores. We don't give a fuck. But when we call you hoes and whores, you upset? Bitch, Get your fucking mind right.
Y'all not sick of these dudes yet? If you ain't got zesty ass Kevin Samuels cutting down your dreams, you got Diego over here showing you what exactly a high value man isn't.
I'm an electrician. What do you bring to the table?
The reason why men are not stunting when women chastise them for being promiscuous, and women feel a little bit upset when they are chastised for being promiscuous, is because the consequences for both of those actions are different. It's a double standard depending upon your gender. So don't try to make it seem like, oh, we just don't care that you call us hoes. Well, if you had the same consequences we did, you'd give a fuck? Y'all be sleeping around with anything, but then got the nerve to turn your nose up at a woman who does the same thing. You community pipe, bruh. Why are you chastising another woman for doing the same thing and trying to convince other men not to date this woman? That's the messed up part. That's what y'all keep trying to overlook. Like how y'all treat women who do the same things you do. I'm a grown ass woman. If I want to be ran through or drop it like it's hot, it ain't shit you could do about it.
But lay there and get fucked.
Call me a hoe and tell other men to not fuck with me who gonna end up fucking with me anyway.
Behind your back.
Every woman got the right to go through her hoe phase. Shit, if I want to be a Thadiana for the weekend, hell, I'm hopping on all community pipes, and I don't care what you think about it. And then y'all gonna say, but you're not gonna get wife though. I'm not disappointed. I seen how y'all treat y'all wives. You're still in the streets.